So these are interesting issues you bring up, conference report, and I see in them a lot of different things. Um, Everybody know what that is? So yeah, okay. On the one hand, I'm prone to being I'm not in this community. I mean, as far as from my childhood, not so much the last 20 years. But I realize, yeah, I want to have a materialist approach to what is a community. If a community interacts or has a certain experience regularly, that's a part of its community experience. That's part of what defines it as a community, right? You want to have a material, what's really happening, not just who do you like. And I tend to, if I do feel like I'm a part of a community, I tend to adopt an ombudsman's role. If I'm in a free speech society, then I'll tend to be like, hey, I know how I could contribute. I'll make sure we really do adhere to those principles we say we have. It's not a role that is often appreciated directly by the community. Some rare communities have in the past, and the word ombudsman comes from those that willingly have taken it. But it is a natural role, and you are a part of the community when you do that, but you also might be about to be kicked out. Or it puts me in mind, too, of Satanists. I've always, Satanists think that they're anti-Christian. And there's a funny issue that comes on with community there. So you have a Christian community of all these churchgoers, and the Satanists might like to say they're outside of that. But they're not, because they're adopting the same framework and rhetoric. And an interesting, well-known part of this is the Anton LaVey type, anti-Christians or whatever, where they would argue, well, we're really atheists. It's just we're like atheists that think it's that part of our view is also to use Christian rhetoric, anti-Christian rhetoric. Well, you're still using the Christian rhetoric. You're specifically saying, I'm an atheist, but I want to stay hooked in with the religious community. So you're part of the religious community at that point, right? Satanism is a part of Christianity. If you decide to be a Satanist, that's like, but we're really atheists. We don't believe in the metaphysical stuff. That's part of what's bullshit about Christianity. But we're going to adopt the Christian metaphors to express ourselves. You're part of that community. And this is sort of what fascinates me about communities. The de facto communities, the communities that happen to be a network of people communicating, and how often it might be, 3 or 4 groups that see themselves as distinct communities, and they don't see their arch nemesis or the casual observers as part of their community, but they obviously are. So to a certain degree, I think this is what we need to master in our understanding of community. But again, I'm expressing from my own point of view of being individualistic, of being the kind of person I understand, at least where I'm coming from, of that I could actually be partaking in a network of people that is a community, and go, but I'm not really a part of that. Now, where I am now, I'd go, yeah, well, de facto, materially, in reality, I'm a part of that. But there is a subtle set of truths we're trying to get at. It's like the look. That's my quitting smoking. For example, the the pro-choice community is a part of the pro-life community in the sense that this is an arch nemesis relationship, which keeps them in focus, which means that there's input and information coming through. That means there's a connection. And this is really what we need to figure out in general, is people need to expand their understanding of what their social groups are. And you need to realize that your opponents, by being chosen as your enemies, you choose your enemies, they when you choose an enemy, they become a part of your culture, a part of your community. And people might make different decisions if they had this in mind as they made them. I know it's had that effect on me. I choose my enemies differently than most people because I realize that I'm choosing to have a relationship with my enemies, which puts me in a common community. And it could possibly be pause for thought, and might direct a little bit about who you're willing to engage with, and it won't be based on who you disagree with, who you agree with. It'll be based on a certain kind of a selection of what networks, what communities you feel like swimming